Hello, hello! Magic continues to move at breakneck speed, and with it comes a very hot and cold booster box market. It's been a while since my last video, so let's check in on the current state of Magic. What do I think about the current sealed market? Where is it headed? Am I even buying anything right now? How do the new and upcoming sets impact that? All this and more in this video. Very glad to be back. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Summer's coming to a close. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I just returned from some really awesome vacation time in Central America and the East Coast of the US. And even though I really got away from it all, my much needed time off always manages to involve Magic at some point, which is funny. While in a beach town here in the US, I managed to find a local game store randomly that was having a Modern Horizons 2 draft a particular day I was in town. So I entered on a whim. I came back later for the tournament and I won the whole thing. It was awesome. There was prize support. So I left with a ton of boosters, pulled some awesome cards. And for the record, I drafted the red-white modular archetype after I saw that kind of no one else was taking those cards at the event. And what's awesome is that my deck only had like a single rare in it that only came out like twice the entire tournament. So you just never know how the games are going to go until the cards are dealt. I didn't know what the atmosphere was going to be like, but there were some really sharp players, some very competitive folks, and I had a blast. I absolutely love draft. I talk about it pretty regularly on here. If the draft environment is strong in any given set, the desire for stores to host events using that product is heightened. More of it gets open, less of it remains, etc. and so on. It's more in demand over time. So if you haven't done so in a long time, consider firing up a draft with some friends or, going cold turkey to your nearest game store for an event. Who knows? You might just win. So now that story time's out of the way, let's get into some Magic in this video. What have I missed since we last spoke? Whoa, shocker, a lot. Wizards continues to take the all gas, no brakes approach with Magic, and we can see the results. A huge secret lair drops available. Dominaria United is out in draft, set, collector, jumpstart boosters even, along with 2 commander decks. Standards rotating, it's going to affect single prices along with it. The Warhammer decks are soon to be released, which has a lot of folks excited, myself included. Jumpstart 2022, Brothers War, Dominaria Remastered are all on their way this year alone, but perhaps most importantly to the viewers of this channel, the booster box market remains really interesting in my opinion. It's very hot and cold. That's what I want to talk about here the most. What do I think about the current market? Where is it headed? Am I even buying anything? Let's chat about it. But first, if you like videos like this and you'd like to follow along, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, leave a comment. It really does go a long way. So there's lots of hype, lots being thrown at us, and this is by design. So embrace the excitement, embrace the energy and the hype, have some fun. I know we would all like more time between product releases, but in the likely chance that the current trend continues, and it will, don't allow yourself to be a prisoner of the moment. Consider yourself spoiled for choice rather than just totally overloaded. Will that help? Maybe not, but sometimes life is just about mindset. So the current market is something I'll unpack in more detail soon, but it remains really hot and cold. I haven't been grabbing much lately with the exception of Zendikar Rising and Kaldheim. I am still picking up Zendikar Rising draft boxes for $99 where I can, and Kaldheim for $95 when I see them. These are 2 of my favorite sets in recent years, and very, very soon to be dried up in terms of larger stores and distributors having any retail inventory left. So other than that, I'm sitting tight on like literally everything else. Prices are down as far as they're going to be on things like Neon Dynasty and New Capenna for the time being. I did buy an extra case of New Capenna for $77 a draft box because I realized I actually wanted them for Dominaria drafts. I know that sounds strange, but the 2 very, very multicolor centric themes, they overlap really well together, and they're actually a lot of fun to draft together. So I just needed more for my play group. I was looking ahead thinking I'll probably want to revisit both of these a little more than usual. So I picked up some extra, crazy deal. That's kind of where boxes have settled anyway. Poor Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunt, I mean, those are just completely down in the gutter. I think that there's room over time, obviously, for every single Magic set, but those, they just don't have a lot of room anytime soon. I think the collector boxes at like the 130s is just still nuts. While they may not move anytime soon, If for some reason you're interested in dabbling in those as products, I may just start there because there's at least a lot more on offer and of interest to people than just the kind of relatively underappreciated draft set. But other than that, everything's at an attractive price if, A, you think it's something you want in your investment stock down the road, and B, you love it, because the price appreciation is somewhat uncertain with the economy and the state that it's in right now. More to come on all of this very soon. I'll love to do some box buy videos to update you on what I've got and what I've pulled. But now on to Dominaria. Let's talk about prices, where this is headed, what I like and dislike, and most importantly, the product itself. So let's start at the end. The set is amazing. Have you had a chance to open it up and visit with it yet? I'd love to know down below. I can't get enough. Like, the lore and the setting speaks for itself. We don't have to talk about that here. Me gushing over that for 20 minutes is reserved for the next podcast episode. I'll spare you. That's kind of also why I don't do box openings on this channel. Maybe that'll change in the future, but you do not need to see me staring into the art of a common card for minutes on end. That would be so painful. So I kind of keep that just to myself and enjoy it. Maybe that'll change in the future, but this set's design is really balanced without being overpowered. I love opening this stuff, even just cracking pre-release kits with my friends and doing the sealed approach too. Like, it's a really smooth set. The draft experience is super fun. I've said before that multicolor cards were a big part of what pulled me into Magic, and the decision to basically make every card that's not the legendary creatures that are all literally multicolor a monocolored card with a kicker that makes it multicolor is so smooth. Like, that's such a smooth design detail. The DNA for that, by the way, is decades old. They were doing this in like Apocalypse and such a long time ago. It's very cool. It makes deck building that much more accommodating when you're drafting, and that's a huge deal to me. I always mention X factors, or like the unique aspects of each set, and how I like to pay attention to those. Wizards always does a nice job with their graphic that walks us through what these are. I'm interested in those. I'm most interested in draft just because they have them in every set kind of going forward. Now, it doesn't mean they're always good. These I really like. You've got your stained glass basic lands. Those are very, very pretty looking. They look amazing in foil, trust me. And an awesome stained glass showcase frame on the legendary creatures. Very unique, legendary creatures being a big sell for Commander. Very cool that this is specifically applied to legendary creatures. The Legends Retold box toppers I think are special. I think they're interesting. One of my boxes had the Savitri Mythic. That is such a cool looking card. Dimir Dragon Planeswalker Commander is like, whoa, that's really interesting. I don't think anybody has a deck like that. Some of them are underwhelming because you're pulling like an uncommon. It's like, not that cool. But nevertheless, there are box toppers, and there is a possibility that you get a really high-powered card in there. That's a major plus to me. You've got borderless rare Painlands and Planeswalkers. Beautiful, always like to see that. But there's Phyrexian text cards in here too. Those are all solid items. I feel like we do expect this each set, but like I say, whether they're good or not always depends. I think every single one of these is a solid hit. It's really great. Aside from that, you've obviously got your textured foils in the collector booster boxes. I think that this is a little confusing, and the differences are so subtle, but the cards are really beautiful. So as a little include in the collector boxes, you've got that. Obviously, we don't need to beat around the bush with the Lost Legends. Those are going to keep box prices up. More on that in just a moment, but the Lost Legends as the X factor kind of in the collector boxes is almost enough on its own. Speaking of, let's segue into prices. The boxes are obviously subject to the 11% price hike. We kind of know that. I've gladly paid this to get my hands on a few of each box type right now, just to open up and visit with and have fun with. Draft boxes at 108, set at 113, collector at like 245, 250, and jumpstart at 79. I've paid all of these prices, and I'm super happy to do that right now. I have not bought anything that I plan on holding long term yet. I've got to buy these things up front without fail every set. I look forward to it for so long, but I don't want to pay these prices for things I want to hold long term. So where are those prices headed? Down eventually, that's for sure. Neon Dynasty is a great example of set strength and market tolerance. The draft boxes are still $99 on average, and the set's been out for 7 months. Meanwhile, you can grab New Capenna for $77 a draft box, like I just mentioned, and that's been out for a lot shorter. So Neon Dynasty being one of the best-selling sets of all time, and New Capenna not, You can obviously see the price disparity. People just genuinely like Neon Dynasty. What will happen with Dominaria here? It's an excellent set. It's going to strike a chord. We've got to wait and see where the market goes. Regardless of how much I love something, I've got to see how the market reacts when I'm buying to invest in. So spending my money blindly is a great way to kid myself into thinking this is actually an investment, and spending it patiently, I always believe, is a great way to find success. So I'm going to watch and see where prices go after launch and allocation. That's when I buy at a price I'm comfortable with, and only if I really believe in the set. Where's this stuff going? Long term, it's easy to see a set like this aging well. It's designed well. It features the most popular subject matter Wizards can muster. It's part of an arc that's been executed well, I think, so far in terms of its contents and the utility. It's the perfect way to approach a standard product, from X factors, settings, set design, draft experience, everything. I will be loading up on this if the price gets down to around $99, because I think then slowly picking it up afterwards, just a box or two at a time, whenever I see it like $1 or $2, literally less than that, is something I'll also be doing. Will people be selling this at a loss to try and get rid of it? I don't really know. I don't really think so. I think that the set is too strong for people to feel like they need to dump it. So nevertheless, we will, like most things, see where it goes over time. The last thing I'll touch on is print run. Remember that Wizards famously cut the print run of the most recent Dominaria set unnecessarily early. We've kind of always wondered why. I believe that this was intentional. I think it was to keep us wanting more and to perpetuate the power of that word Dominaria. And hey, it worked. Look how excited everyone is to get another Dominaria experience right now. Those boxes got incredibly valuable incredibly quickly. Typical boxes don't do that, and I do not believe Wizards will do that here with this print run. We're staying on this plane for a few sets along this story arc anyway, and cutting the print run lowers the possible revenue for Hasbro, so it just doesn't make sense to me. I expect plenty of draft and set box inventory and fair prices for a long while. The collector boxes will come down, I'm positive. They will follow the same trend as Neon Dynasty did. At launch, we know of extremely valuable and rare cards. Prices are elevated because of that. And then as soon as sales slow and the next set starts to rear its head, people kind of get off the inventory. They start selling it at more reasonable prices and sets dip. Look at Neon Dynasty. They were $250 to $280 for the longest time. Now they're back down where they should be at $199. So if you want to pick up Dominaria United collector boxes, I really would wait. I'm going to be doing the same for all 4 box types right now, and I will of course talk about this as the market unfolds. Remember, just don't act out of fear. Act out of love for what you see and with total respect for your budget. With such an awesome set in front of us, it would be a shame to darken its doorway by doing anything other than that. It's so great to be back. Thank you so much for watching this video. I've got a ton to talk about. I know there's a lot to discuss. What do you think of Dominaria? What are you buying? Are you picking anything up? Is anything that you're eyeing or tracking? I'd love to hear from you. I respond to everything I can. Talk to me in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing to follow along. There's a lot on the horizon, so until then, take care.